Hello everyone and welcome to my Mimighoul deck profile. This is just a competitive list that I put together that has helped me at not only just locals. I came in first place at 2 OTSs and I came in second place at the celebration anniversary event. Can't remember the name of it, but yeah, this performs very well, this format. So let's get right into it. So we have 2 Master, 3 Archfiend, 3 Dragon, 2 Cerberus, 3 Maker, 3 Room, 3 Dungeon. I think these ratios are perfect. You can run 1 Cerberus. I like to run 2 Cerberus because I would like to see more of it and like to have more targets for Maker. Also, just like its effects are really good. People like to focus a lot on the first effect of Mimighoul cards, but it's really the second effect where these cards like to shine. So when I say that, so Mimighoul Cerberus, you'll see later on why I like it. The secondary effect is that it protects your face-up spells from destruction. So your field spell is going to have protection. If you have any spell floodgates, like deck lockdown or I can't think of anything else, but anything like that, that card really comes in handy. Mimighoul Dragon blows up your opponent's board. Archfiend, your opponent has to pitch 1 while you draw 1. Room and Maker, I really feel like people don't pay attention to the second effects of these cards. It's in like people you go against and Mimighoul users. So Mimighoul Maker is amazing because if you use this special summon 1 and 2, like 1 goes to your opponent, 1 comes to you, then you get to special summon a Mimighoul from your hand. But the second effect of your opponent, if your opponent special summons and they have a face down, which will most likely be your Mimighoul, you can flip that face up. So you still have control over the board and you get the benefit of that effect. And most of the time when you use that effect, it's always gonna be like on Dragon. Mimighoul Room, secondary effect, you get to bounce your Mimighouls back to your hand. So if you feel like there's a destruction card coming or like an evenly matched, you can bounce Mimighoul cards that are face up on the field. So not just the monsters, but you can bounce your field spell right back to your hand. And then next turn, if you survive, you are able to go all out again. When you use Mimighoul Makers, your targets should always be Cerberus and Archfiend. If you get Cerberus over there, you get Archfiend to the hand, you can special summon Archfiend, flip Cerberus, the opponent mills 3, then special summons 1 of those monsters to your side of the field. You get Cerberus back, you have 3 monsters to link climb with. But it is RNG, is 50-50, so your opponent may get Archfiend and you may get Cerberus. That's still okay. If you opened with another Archfiend, you can just special summon that and flip that one. Or you could just special summon Cerberus and you probably have another utility card to force a flip on this. And if not, that's okay. You still got what you needed out of Maker. And Maker, when your opponent special summons, you get to use that effect. So you're going to get these effects off no matter what. Mimighoul Room, your target should always be Mimighoul Dragon. Put that on your opponent's board. And the way to also trap your opponent is when it is their turn and you have the field spell up on board. If you have the field spell face up on the board, you Mimighoul Room, put Dragon on their side of the field. They can't flip it that turn, on their turn. So they're locked out of normal summoning and special summon monsters this turn that they special summon cannot attack. And if you have like Master on board at any time, during the main phase, you can use Master's effect, flip this, wipe your opponent's board, then this comes back to you. So that's the way you really should be using these cards in combo with them. Master, you can search him if you'd like. He's not really search worthy all of the time. Well, I'm lying. If you are gonna search anything from the deck using Dungeon, search Master. After you search Master with Dungeon, don't search from the deck anymore because you still need to be able to use these 2 cards if you draw into them. Dungeon should be used to recycle your Mimighouls from the graveyard. Do not search them from the deck unless you really need to, unless it's an emergency situation. Aside from that, there's no other real use to search them from the deck. Next is I'm running Mimighoul Kashtira. So these are my Kashtira cards. Pretty standard stuff. Unicorn, super OP during this format, especially with Mimighouls, because if you flip and you have Unicorn on board, that's your opponent activating an effect. Unicorn's going to get you deck knowledge, and you get to remove one of their extra deck utility or combo pieces. So this completely neuters Fiendsmith. So I highly recommend Unicorn in the deck. If you don't want to run Fenrir and you want to use something else, that's fine. But Unicorn goes super hard in this deck. Pressure Planet is just to get your Kashtira monster. If you're gonna use Pressure Planet, if you're going first, use Pressure Planet. Always get Unicorn. Always get Unicorn. That should be your first priority. If you're going second, Fenrir should be your priority. Going first, if you Pressure Planet, then you summon Unicorn, you get Birth. Now, if you have Mimighouls in hand and the cards to flip them, you can put something on your opponent's side of the field, flip it, you'll get it back. Now you can link off into something, then Birth will bring Unicorn right back to the board. I like the Kashtira engine because of that, and I feel like that makes it very formidable and a very strong deck. Kashtira, I did hate it when it came out, but now it's kind of become one of my favorite non-engine cards to use. I'm hoping down the line to get Kashtira Tri-Heart. I feel like that it would be a great addition to the deck. But yeah, this is basically what's been helping me, and I can't tell you how many times I've completely harmed like Fiendsmith users or anyone who has a deck that like their main combo piece is in that extra deck and you use this to remove it. And what's even better is say you have Unicorn and you put Cerberus on their side of the field. You flip Cerberus, you can find a way to flip Cerberus. They have to mill 3. If they mill a monster, that monster gets summoned to your side of the field. You get Cerberus back, you get to banish. Now you have 3 things to link climb with. So you can link Unicorn and Cerberus, because sometimes opponents like to make sure that their combo pieces aren't banished and will summon their combo piece so that it goes to the graveyard. Try to keep that on your side of the field as much as possible. So you link these 2 off, go into your link 2, then Birth, bring Unicorn right back to the board. You still have 3 solid monsters on the field. And if you are able to get into Dungeon, then Dungeon will bring your Cerberus right back to your hand. So yeah, Kashtira, very, very good. Very affordable, very anti-Fiendsmith. I love it. For my utility cards, I have Silhouhatte Trick, Terraforming, 3 swords, 3 talents. I'm very, I see a lot of Mimighoul decks without Swords of Revealing Light. This card is extremely broken in this deck. This card is going to get your Mimighoul effects off instantly. This card should be ran in the deck. And as a bonus, remember what I said about Cerberus protecting your face-up spells? Cerberus protects this from destruction. So your opponent literally has to out so many obstacles in order to be able to actually attack you. If you have Dungeon on board and something set on their side of the field, like if you use Room to get Dragon, they cannot attack you with any special summon monsters. They would have to out Dungeon, and if you have Cerberus face up with swords, they would have to out Cerberus and then be able to out swords via destruction. If they have any other sort of removal, then it gets removed. But destruction, complete immunity. Tactics, talent, this is like come on, like you have to have this card. This is like a staple in the deck. There's no reason to not run it. You're going to be able to go off on the opponent. There's so many different ways to use talents that I love. So definitely you need this at 3. Terraforming, solid one of. I mostly use it to search Pressure Planet. If I open Pressure Planet, then of course you use it to search Dungeon. That's Terraforming. Silhouhatte Trick. So obviously I'm running Silhouhatte Hair. I prefer Trick over Azurin Statue in Mimighoul at least, because Trick, I'm always gonna have something on the board. I get to negate my opponent's stuff. And then if I have Dragon, I can blow their stuff up, get Dragon back. Like, you will always have basically a big field, and I like that, and I want to keep that, so I feel like Silhouhatte Trick helps with that. It's also immune to destruction, along with Silhouhatte Rabbit, so you're going to have follow-up the next turn. So this is it for the utility cards. And now hand traps. These are the only hand traps you need. That's it. Ashen Shifter. You can play through Shifter very well with this deck. Next is the extra deck. So we'll start with the XYZs. So for XYZs, you have IP, Knightmare Unicorn, Accesscode Talker. This is your Accesscode OTK lineup. Then you have Silhouhatte Rabbit, of course. I fucking love this card. I think it's way better than SP. That's just my opinion, though. I know other people may have a different opinion, but I think Silhouhatte Rabbit is 100% better than SP, just because it gets you a continuous trap, and it just has battle destruction protection, so you will have follow-up the next turn. Relinquished Anima, just a link one. If I had SP, if I could afford SP, it would be nice to use this as a link climb tool. But if you have it, if your opponent manages to summon in this monster zone and you just put this there, you equip it, you have your removal. I can't tell you how many times people forget that Relinquished Anima is a card. For other not side cards, they still are important. BLS, Soldier of Chaos, very, very good, especially if you use your Kashtira monsters as link material. It gets its other beneficial effects. Banishment, gain 1500 attack, or getting to attack twice. Super, super, super good in this deck. It's also Earth Element, so if you get Gozen matched, you can still use this. Still a powerful card. Scareclaw Tri-Heart, mainly defensive. You really want to use this to get control of the board again. If you're going against a link deck, it's not really useful, but against XYZ synchro decks, and if your opponent can't negate it or remove it, they're stuck in defense mode, and their monster's effects cannot do anything to Tri-Heart. And it's even better when you use it with IP, because it gives it that extra protection if they try to use a spell or a trap for destruction. Underworld Goddess, this is going to remove the unaffected by card effect cards. You just tribute them. Like I said, this deck, you will always have a really big board. If you play this right, you will always have enough to go into this seamlessly. Borrelguard Dragon goes super hard in this deck. Once you get this on board, you have complete control of when Mimighoul monsters are going to be flipped on your opponent's side of the field, so you could just keep messing with your opponent relentlessly. I love this card. This is made for this deck. And also, if it's your turn, you put Dragon on their side of the field, flip Dragon, wipe their board, you can target one of their monsters in the graveyard and special summon it to your side of the field with this effect. This card is amazing. I love this card, and I can't tell you how many times opponents have been really, really, really annoyed with this card. Next is the XYZs. This is your Zeus line. This is supposed to be Zeus. I currently have Zeus in another deck right now. But yeah, this is your Zeus line. You need to have a Lyrilusc. These are level 1s. This brainless. Ensemblue Robin. If you want to have more disruption, this card is really good. Just bounce, 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 bounce. Your opponent will get extremely annoyed. It's super funny to watch that happen. So yeah, highly recommend. And then we have Harmonize number 76. So what I love about number 76 is that if you're going against a solo element deck, like if you're going against a deck that's strictly like fire, they will have a hard time outing this because they can't destroy her by battle or with their card effects. And you can also use her as a disruption tool. Like against Yubel, what I do is if they're trying to get something in the, like use something from the graveyard, I would just quick effect detach and take that and attach it. So they can't get they lost their target. So you're good to just keep going. And you have a nice disruption tool. You'll go into this with your Kashtira monsters. This card is super, super good. I love this card. It's a great defensive card, great interruption tool. And then I have Kashtira Shangri-Ira. I can't tell you how many times this card was actually useful with just getting my Kashtira monsters back on board. And then on top of that, you're controlling your opponent's board essentially already with Mimighouls, with what you put on their side of the field, unless they're like running Labyrinth and they tribute your monsters. But like I rarely see that happen. So Shang, you just, you have your Unicorn on board, you banish something, Shang, boom, block one of their spots. Then they have a Mimighoul on the board. People, especially in this format, I feel that your monster zones are super important, and like a lot of decks need that extra space to get what they need out. If you just keep clogging up their board, there's not much they're going to be able to do, and that's really what I love about Shang, and it's been super useful. I'm hoping if I get when I get Reinhardt, I'm probably going to take out Scareclaw or Anima, and then run a second Shang, just because Reinhardt makes it so easy to get into Shangri-La. So this is essentially just the extra deck, and that's just how this all compiles together. Next is the side deck. Side deck, 2 Summoning Curse. You can main deck this. I run it in the side deck just because I feel like I have really good main deck options, and I don't want to bump any of them for these. 3 is too much. 2, I feel like, is a happy medium. 1 is pointless because you probably won't even see the card. You don't have a lot of digging options, but Summoning Curse, super good. I've used this card, and I can't tell you how many times I have had my opponents start with the maximum of 3 cards on their turn. That's including when they draw. So super, super, super good. A lot of people hate it. It's, people will scoop almost instantly if you just banish their entire hand. Back row hate, I have Duster, 3 Cosmic Cyclone, Dark Ruler No More, my second favorite spell in the entire game. I love this card. This allows you to play Yu-Gi-Oh! When your opponent just makes like a really cracked board and you're just like, how the fork do I get through this? Well, here you go, Dark Ruler No More. You can't do damage, you don't really need to do damage to them. Your Mimighouls are just there to remove everything from their board and make it harder for them to play. So Dark Ruler No More is an excellent card. I love this card, so happy it was printed. When I want to go more control, I have these: Mind Control, Snatch Steal, Change of Heart. Love these cards. Snatch Steal gets through cards that say unaffected by activated effects. This is Snatch Steal is an equip. The equip has to happen, so it will take over whatever card your opponent is saying that is unaffected by activated effects, such as like Ex-Pearly Noir, for example, or that Link 5 monster the Ignisters like to use. Change of Heart, Mind Control, also straightforward. Again, I like to be able to control, so this is a really good control option. And then 3 Evenly Matched, just to, make your opponent even more upset. So that's essentially my build. I will make another video of test hands just to show like how it works and the fluidity of the deck. But I hope this helps with your deck building and maybe inspire some new ideas. I feel the best way to play the deck this format is a Fiendsmith build, a Fiendsmith Mimighoul, Kashtira Mimighoul, and Vernisylph Mimighoul. Vernisylph's Mimighoul is more for like, you're going straight for combos. Fiendsmith also combos. Kashtira is more control. You can play pure. I've been trying to find a way to play pure Mimighoul. I think they're not there yet to where they can play themselves pure. They need this extra support. You'd be running a lot of utility, which could lead to a lot of bricks. Yeah, we'll see what those new cards come out, what they